Not quite. I was just
Okay.
pressing it right then. Okay. Now you're good.
All right, I'd like to call the finance meeting to order. The time is 6 o'clock. Can I get a roll call, Jenny?
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt.
Yes.
Okay, Michelle, anything for citizens?
Nothing yet.
Okay, perfect. Okay, motion to accept the minutes for the prior month. Do we have
so
anything?
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, Jenny, financial reports.
Okay. Our fund statuses are all looking good. And considering what we went through last year, our fund balances are almost exactly where they were a year ago. So that's really good. There were no adjustments on the cash summary report. The receipt listing, we had revenues of 84,800. We had about 55,000 in income tax, and then we had an ODNR reimbursement of like 14,500, and the rest of it was just normal income, monthly stuff.
And that 14.5 was for Bruker Park?
Yes.
Okay.
The payments combined operating and payroll were 408,329, and that is because we paid out the water and sewer funds. Other than that, on normal payments, it was about 79,500. So we actually came out about 5,000 to the good. We don't have the credit card bills yet, but the requisitions that I have, it looks like we have normal spending going on, nothing unusual. Revenue status, we should be around 8.3% as of January 31st. The grant funds kind of throw things a little bit. So if you left those out, say, if you look at the general fund and the special revenue funds, we're right on goal. We're doing well. Appropriation status, everything looks good there. The bank reconciliation, there was one adjustment of $14.22. I forgot to add the $15 auto charge for the Anthem MIWA. That's like a new thing starting in January. And then I also had a mathematical error of 78 cents on the RETA deposit. So everything got fixed and straightened out. So that's the financial reports. Do you have any questions?
Tammy, can I ask a question?
Yep.
On the Orchard Street, the ODOT project that we borrowed out of the road levy money to pay the guy, did you get your reimbursement from that yet?
Yeah, I think we got that in December.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that went right back into the road levy fund.
I've got no questions.
I got
I
no
don't have any
question.
questions.
You need a motion to move it on to council.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we're moving that on to council.
Aye.
Aye. All right, review of bills of resolution.
To me, if you make a bill, you got to pay it.
Jenny, on the service department, on the resolutions,
Yeah.
the wages, we talked last month about in council about bringing that to service regarding like the cemetery and parks and stuff.
Yeah.
So I see we have a cemetery wages on this one.
Right.
Did you adjust that or?
That's what they put on the time card. So
Okay.
that's how I paid it.
Okay. So, and is it then, I guess the next question is for time cards, is that going, I know, to the village administrator right now? And then, does that go to them? So the guys put it on their time card. Would whoever the village administrator be say yes, no?
They're supposed to sign off. Joe signs all the ones for the police department. And right now Linda signs for the service department.
Okay.
But they go to Jenny before they come to me.
Yeah, they really should be sending them to Mary Ann,
Right.
but
Okay. I just want when we hire the new person, I just want it to be the right way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well,
so-
it's good that they send them to me because then I can get a jump on payroll and get started on it. So, but yeah, he should probably send them to both of us.
well, because I mean, I guess my question was, since we were discussing comp time and all that kind of stuff, you know, and vacation time, if the guys take it, did they take it? How, you wouldn't know, right?
Right.
I'm saying him. I don't mean to be sexist. I apologize, but. Okay. All right, so I'd like to see that go, you know, I mean, I don't guess I don't have that to say, but anyway. That'd be nice to have that starting for the new person.
Yeah, once we get somebody permanent in there, then we're just going to have to look at how we're doing things, and maybe, you know, they have ideas too, change things around.
Okay. Any other discussion on the bill of resolutions?
No.
Do,
All right, ready to review
Oh, we got to have a motion.
Oh, okay, can I get a motion to send this to council?
yes,
Second.
All those in favor?
yes,
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Jenny. Thanks, Jenny.
That's okay.
All right, I have my list of things to do and I totally skipped over that.
You're
Okay.
doing great.
Okay, review of legislation, ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance authorizing renewal of an agreement with the Mantua Potato Festival, setting forth conditions for the use of the old water plant at Bruckard Park, second reading. We discussed this last month. Matt talked about it.
Yep.
Any other discussions?
nope,
No questions here. Did we receive any feedback from the Potato Fest people on it or anything?
Okay,
We did receive their insurance.
Good.
Jenny, do you need a copy of that or just downstairs in the file?
Yeah, it goes in the Accord file.
Okay. I'll make sure Mary Ann has it to put in there. I'll put it in your box.
Okay.
okay, ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance amending section 133.02 of the codified ordinance of the Village of Manaway relating to the powers and duties of the village administrator, amending the job description for that position and declaring an emergency. Third reading. We just discussed this Tuesday night. Any comments?
This version that you have should have all the amendments that were made.
I looked it over and I did see all the amendments on it.
I do have a question. Like right now when Mary Ann does a meeting for the BZA, instead of getting her hourly wage, they pay her a base thing of $40 for taking minutes and typing them up and making sure all the paperwork's signed. Is that something that we should consider putting in to that, since the new village administrator would be doing that? Or just go at the regular hourly rate?
If
I think
it's in the
it's-
job description, I would just say we would drop the $40 per meeting.
I would think it would go in as their hourly rate, as just across the board, right? Factor into that in their salary
That's what I would think.
instead of having a second line. I mean,
I just wanted to toss it out. That's, it's usually separate. It has been in the past. So I don't know if we have to change that in the codified or not.
well,
What
is the administrator is salary, not hourly, right?
So that
Hourly.
hasn't been determined yet.
Okay.
So you're saying John received $40 every time there was a BZA meeting?
No, Mary Ann did, because she came to the meetings and was their secretary. She made sure everything got mailed out. and when people called and had questions and things, so.
Oh,
And
I
then,
see.
then they have paperwork after the meeting that has to be signed, that, like today, she was scurrying to get everybody to come in because they were supposed to come in a month ago and didn't, and we needed it signed today, so.
Okay, so I got it. I got you now. So it's Mary Ann's responsibility, and we're talking about that in the context of the administrator positions
Right.
description here. Understood. Okay. I thought it was like the administrator was doing this the whole time. And I'm with
No.
Well, Mayor, I'll say, do you get an extra $40 for planning commission?
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't get extra for anything that I do not the mayor part-time job.
Oh,
I do it because I love this community.
That's right.
that's, so that my point, I think it needs to be in the salary included into it instead of extra, right?
Okay, I just wanted to toss it out, so it
That's
didn't.
just, that's my opinion.
Because
I
I think it might be in the B somewhere, that it might be listed that she gets paid, he, she, whoever would have been doing it would get paid $40 per BZA hearing. Because like one night there was 2, so she got $80 because it was 2 meetings. Is that in the codified, Michelle, broken down?
No,
Okay,
not that I can remember. I know when we had to pay for two BZA hearings in one meeting, we had to go back and see how Chelsea had previously been paid for the same thing, but we couldn't find it written down anywhere.
Okay.
And I can't remember how the $40 ever came about.
me either.
Just history, I think.
Yeah,
It might be something we should think about addressing so that we don't have to go back and research it at a later date. Nothing wrong if somebody wants to change something.
Right.
The council agrees to it, but let's get it in writing and get it in either the codified or the employee handbook. So that's not a he said, she said thing years from
Yeah.
now.
If
Exactly.
it falls under the responsibilities of the village administrator, then it would just become an hourly thing.
I just wanted to toss it out there so it didn't become an issue at a later date.
Okay.
very good.
So we have more discussion on that when it comes time. All right. Anybody else? We ready to move on? Okay, ordinance 2021-10, an ordinance retroactively repealing section 4.8 of the Village of Mantua Employee Handbook relating to on-call compensation for service department employees and declaring an emergency. Any questions? Any discussion?
Nope, nothing further from me.
For me either.
No, either. All right, we can move on. Okay. Resolution 2021-12, a resolution declaring the 19.
Did you get 11?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay, how about 2021-11? A resolution expressing the intent of the council of the Village of Mantua, Ohio, to dispose of property owned by the village which is no longer needed for public use or is obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was originally acquired by internet auction for the year 2021 and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Yeah, so what are we talking about here?
This is the wood chipper.
The wood chipper. And if we had a cruiser we wanted to sell, anything like that.
Right, what happened was I misunderstood Michelle that she said if it was $1,000 or under that we didn't have to bid it out. And she found where we do have to bid it out, so.
Okay, because
We
I
got-
saw 2021-12, and I thought that was for, like explicitly for the wood chipper. I thought 11 was for like some property around town. I'm like, what property don't we need?
I thought it was for the police department.
I thought it was for the property around town until I read it and I went, oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Until I read the resolution, I was like, it's good to read the fine print. Yeah.
yeah. Then I'm
for
like,
anything we want to sell during this calendar year on the internet.
gotcha.
And then the next one is specifically for the chipper. But we can't sell the chipper on the internet unless we pass a special resolution allowing us to sell things on the internet,
Gotcha.
which is 11.
Okay. Any other questions? Any concerns? Can I get a motion to send this to council?
To do that, Ian.
What?
I said so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to 2021-12, a resolution declaring the 1992 Vermeer 620 brush chipper not needed for municipal purposes, authorizing the mayor to dispose of this equipment by internet auction and declaring an emergency.
Let's move this to council till we already talked about it.
Can I get a motion to move it to council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 2021-13, an ordinance authorizing certain adjustments to the 2021 appropriations and declaring an emergency. Jenny, do you have anything?
Yeah, the Road and Bridge Fund, when we submitted our appropriations to the county auditor for our first amendment in January, these two funds actually bounced. And the reason why Road and Bridge bounced is because I had an open purchase order for CT for doing the engineering on West Prospect. And normally we close them at the end of the year, but for grants, it's easier to leave them open. So we just have to deduct that 49,500 that's already on a PO and submit it back to the county. As far as the Bookert Park walking trail, that one also bounced, and the amount that we should be spending is 21,393. And so we'll need to advance that amount, which that's in the next ordinance.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's bookkeeping. That's just,
It's
Bookkeeping.
bookkeeping.
yeah, it's nothing you can do about it. Like it or not.
Can I get a motion to move that to council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right. So then 2021-14, an ordinance authorizing an advance from the general fund number 1,000 to the Bookert Park Walking Trail Fund number 4201 and declaring an emergency.
She just explained that.
Correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to move that to council?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Ordinance 2021-15, an ordinance granting approval and consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitude pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on the state highways inside village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highway inside the village corporation limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and or repair for the state highway inside the village corporation.
So moved.
It seems like housekeeping,
Yeah,
right?
Tuesday.
Annual housekeeping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
just-
way they can do their
Yeah, yeah.
striping and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yep, sure. Second.
Tammy,
All
you're
those in favor?
read that too.
Second. Aye.
Mayor, did you have something to say? We already passed.
I said you're volunteered to read that on Tuesday.
Oh my, I'll just record myself. Lordy Pete, I couldn't take a breath. Okay.
I'm not responsible for that title.
I-
Oh, God sent it.
Can I have some more punctuation besides one comma?
No, that's all you get.
All right, 2021-16, an ordinance establishing pay scales and positions of full and part-time employees, the Village of Mantua, repealing prior inconsistent ordinances and declaring an emergency. Michelle, housekeeping?
We have, since we had turned over the water and sewer plants to the county, there's a bunch of positions that we no longer need. So essentially just kind of cleaning it up to match our current needs. And that's it.
And we also took off the assistant clerk treasurer.
Oh, okay. Any other discussion? Can I get a motion to move it to council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2021-18, a resolution authorizing application for paddling enhancement grant funding through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency.
I asked Michelle to do this because I forgot to, discussed it at service. We didn't make a motion. I was going to ask for a motion at planning last night. It was discussed at planning, forgot to ask for the motion. This is that 100% reimbursable grant. It's a new grant. Last night when I gave you the quote, I gave you a quote of $46,000, but because we cannot do the concrete ramp, the price has been reduced to $20,200. Again,
That
this
much of a difference? That's incredible.
all that concrete, doing that because he was going to be putting those things to slow down the water. You can't do that. We would have had to pay the Army Corps of Engineers to come out and do a study and do the mussels and worry about the bats because there's one tree that might have to come down and all the different things. So we're just leaving it, and he's going to be putting in gravel in that area.
Okay.
So what is it reduced to? How much?
$20,200. This is I'm sorry, Ben.
I'll paddle down the river for $20,200.
So what this will be doing is repaving or paving the.
I know what you're saying. I understood what you said.
Well,
I was saying that I can paddle down the river myself for $20,000. I'll paddle down the river anytime you want me to. Anyway, I understood what you said, Mayor. That's that. I got it.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
No, this is a free upgrade.
I know, love it. Okay, can I get a motion to send this to council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so number 8 is discussions paying service department employees by set funds. Is that what we just discussed about taking stuff to the village administrator to pay by?
No, this is how we briefly talked about it at council, that John and I had worked out in the appropriations last fall where Dave and Vern were paid out of streets no matter what they were doing. And the part-time people, one was tree care and one was parks, no matter what they were doing. And that's the discussion.
And my position is I think whatever we have them work on, it needs to go to that fund because we need to be able to keep track of where we're spending our money. Especially next year when we're going to be tightening our belts a lot. It'd be nice to know exactly where those funds are needed.
Precisely.
Well, I did call around to some area villages to see how they do things. Okay, I talked to Deborah from Garrettsville. She said they have 4 full-time people and 1 part-time. When I told her how we do it, she goes, that's a lot of work for everybody. She said our full-time people, 1 is paid out of parks, 3 are paid out of streets, and then, or wait, the part-time people are out of parks. Street fund pays for 3, and the cemetery fund pays for 1, regardless of who's doing what and where. That's just how they do the budgeting. Then she also told me about Reminderville because she works there too. She said they have 3 full-time, 2 seasonals. 2 of the full-timers are and the seasonal person are all paid from the general fund, which is like our parks and tree care, but there it's just called general fund service, I guess. The street fund pays for 1 full-time plus any plowing that any of them do. And any overtime hours are charged to the rec fund because they have a JED that they have the rec center and all that. I talked to Sue and Hiram. They have 4 full-time people. They don't pay any wages out of the cemetery except very occasionally some of the part-time summer help. But she said the cemetery does not generate enough revenue to pay wages. So they use it for operating only, and wages are coming out of general fund. The full-time village administrator is paid 60% general fund. Well, they have a general fund streets, like we have a general fund parks. They have a general fund streets. So their village administrator is 60% general fund streets, 20% water, 20% sewer. The assistant village administrator is 100% general fund. The full-time administrative assistant that does their water billing, she's also the assistant to the mayor and the fiscal officer. Her pay is 70% general fund, 15% water, 15% sewer. The fiscal officer, Sue, hers is split 84% general fund, 8% water, 8% sewer. And they don't pay any wages out of parks, tree care, or streets. So I said, well, the money that you get in streets, like from gas tax and license tax, you don't pay wages out of that. She goes, nope. She said, all the wages are paid for street work is general fund. And that money that they get for gas and license tax, they focus on keeping their roads paved and putting in sidewalks and things like that. It's all capital stuff. So, and she said that their auditor said that the easiest thing to do is track it for 2 months and get an idea, who's doing what and determine how to split it out and then just leave it that way. You can't accurately track the minutes. You almost have to go down to the minutes. I mean, how long does it take to run to the cemetery and grab the trash? Is that 15 minutes? I mean, it's just a lot of work and nobody does it
Well,
except us.
you got to make sure that however you're paying it out, that there's funds in that account to pay it. You can't pay it out of funds that you don't have. So it's
Well,
got,
right. That's why we set up the wages in the general fund for the cemetery, because we ran out every year. And
yeah,
if Linda wants to make it where we can turn money into the trust, then we can track what they do for Memorial Day and pay that and get reimbursed by the trust if we want to do that. But we know that by summertime we've used up all the money in cemetery. We only have, right now maybe it's more, but normally we only have 3 to 5 burials a year. That's not going to pay wages. And the
Well, and
foundations, we did bump the price up on those, but we're already higher than a lot of cemeteries. We can't just bump our prices up like crazy to cover wages. So,
And I can see the cemetery maybe just want, Memorial Day or whatever, but I really think with the rest of with us knowing we're going to be hurting next year for funds,
yeah, we
how are we
are.
going to do appropriations if we don't know where we're spending the money?
You're not.
So I think we need to track, that's my opinion on, I think we need to track there.
yeah, I mean, if council wants to leave it like it is, they can, but I'm just telling you, it's no more accurate than doing it this way. They just take a guess, and some of them don't even fill out their own time card. Dave does it based on what he tells them to get done. He knows that they've been at the park and he knows they've been, here and there.
So the funds as they are now, are they somewhat reflective of the amount of time that they spend there? I mean, how accurate is that? Would
I
you
don't know. I really don't know. I have no way of knowing what they're doing unless I see them out in front of my house patching holes. I don't know what they do all day. Whatever is on the time card is what I pay.
And you don't either, Matt. You won't unless you see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm hip.
I'm just saying that there's other ways that people are doing it now, and it's acceptable.
How do we pay our village administrator? Is it out of general fund?
Right now it's general fund, but we were paying John out of general fund, streets, water, and sewer.
We
And
don't
mostly
have
water and sewer.
We don't
because
have
that's what he
water
was
and
doing.
sewer anymore to pay,
Right.
so it's gone.
And the street fund, barely covers the wages for Dave and Vern. So right now the village administrator is all general fund.
And general fund's only so big.
Right.
I know.
And that's my concern is we're going to end up in, October and be running out of funds and everything.
Well, I can remember times when it got to be the end of November, we hardly had money to pay for wages for December.
Well, that's why I thought if we paid the 2 part-time people out of parks and tree care, those are both general fund. And then, paid the two guys out of streets, we know we can cover that amount for them.
Well, we got to pay it where we got the money to pay it. I don't care how any of you think.
Mayor, yes.
I just have a couple questions for clarification. So if we don't take any funds, payroll out of cemetery, then that means we can't apply, or Jenny can't, because Jenny's the one who does it, the spring cleanup, because we won't have tracked any hours. And sometimes that has ranged from $1,000 to $5,000 that would help out. So that's one question I have. Another question is when we have a burial and they pay us for that burial, where is that money going to go? It should be used for our employees to get their hourly wage while they're up there performing the duties of a burial.
Yeah, if the cemetery was wealthy enough to do that, that would be nice, but the cemetery doesn't make much money.
But what I'm asking is, when we have a burial and they pay the $500 or whatever it is, I don't know off the top of my head, and our guys are up there for 2 or 3 hours, are you paying them out of the $500, or are you just paying them out of where are you paying them from, and where's that $500 going?
It goes into the cemetery fund. If they put it on their time card, then yeah, we're paying wages.
But I'm asking,
If we weren't paying wages, it would still go into the cemetery fund and it would go towards operating.
okay, that's what I was asking. Thank you.
And what we had just said is if you wanted them to track their Memorial Day work so that we could submit it, we could do it that way.
Well, again, that's a council decision. I just wanted clarification.
Yes,
'Cause
council can.
I can't see how we could justify it if they don't track their time submitting something to the trust when the trust has been so good to us over the last several years.
Well, then how come when we're spending hours and hours chipping the money from that, like why, when somebody gets their tree cut down in their tree lawn, why isn't that money going into the shade tree fund? It's the same principle.
Okay?
They have to pay half of the cost
Have
of.
you brought it up before?
Huh?
Have you brought it up before?
I've brought it up several times
Well, this is the first I've ever heard of that.
because the shade tree fund generates zero income. So when people get their tree lawn cleaned up and get the tree cut down, I've said it as recently as last year that the half that the resident pays should be going into the shade tree fund, and we should be replanting those trees that are coming down.
Okay, so Finance Committee, you're hearing this now. Do you want to put this on your agenda to discuss to change legislation so that does happen? A lot of times things get discussed, no decisions are made, and they go by the wayside.
I've been saying it since 2015 when Kate was here.
Well, and that was my next thing. I would like to discuss this with the new village administrator.
That's a good idea.
That's the person who's going to have to oversee all this and have their ideas, and they're doing the budgets, they're doing everything.
I mean, I only brought it up because I was saying that when work is done in one area, the money doesn't always stay with it. And this is one instance. If somebody's working at the cemetery, doesn't mean they have to be paid out of cemetery. At least the way that John and I had talked about it. And the way
At least they've got to get paid.
Yeah, they'll get paid. But I mean, the other villages, it's the same thing. They look at the funds, and if they have a weak fund, like Hiram, their park and tree care and cemetery funds are all weak funds. So any revenues that they get goes to operating, and wages are all paid from the healthier fund. And the general fund, the main purpose of the general fund is to support the other funds.
Support.
And everything you're
Right.
saying, Jenny, is correct. My issue is you and John, in my opinion, did not have the authority to make that decision, you should have brought it before finance before you did it.
I think the village administrator has that right, and he did in his appropriations, but if council wants to decide on it, they're the legislators, they can certainly do that.
They're the
And
ones
the
that.
mayor is not the one that decides on that. That's the
And that's what
council.
I said, Ben. Council needs to decide that, not me.
That's right.
Not me, not Jenny, not John. Council. And John's not here, so I guess that's a mute point there.
Right. Well, and I think this is the great time to talk about it when we are switching over and there's no bad habits.
Yeah, going back to the shade tree thing. So one, I didn't know that there was a service that we provided.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so there's, the residents will pay a fee and then that money goes, somewhere. So
Yeah,
It's half the tree
if you have a
Yeah.
big dead tree on your tree lawn,
yeah,
and it
the
hits your
village can,
house.
yes,
yeah.
well, the
If it
village
hits
would,
your house, you're gonna pay for that.
I
Yeah.
did.
Your
I
insurance-
did, Ben.
the village would make arrangements to have that tree taken down. And if it costs $1,000, the village pays 500 and the resident pays 500.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying that the resident share should go into the shade tree fund, and the shade tree fund is responsible for replacing trees on the tree lawn. We don't do that. We just take the tree out and there's no tree.
And that's a good idea
I
because
wouldn't replace a tree that was so big that it fall on your house.
That's a great idea. So, So-
Shade Tree has been trying to come up with a way to start a replanting. Again, there's no money there.
yeah.
There's like $4,000 or something there.
A long time ago,
USA.
we got a shade tree grant of around, I think it was 6,000 or 7,000. And we've just dwindled it away very, very slowly. There's still over 4,000, I think, in that fund. I mean, we use it for our Arbor Day membership, which is $15. I think our Tree City membership is $15. And then the luncheon that Linda and Marty go to is like 80. And that's the only expenses that we have. We're not planting trees. When they do the Arbor Day program at the school, people are having to donate the trees that go to the school. That money should be all charged to Shade Tree because we turn it in on our report every year for the Tree City.
I've sat there and took this many trees and that many trees and handed them out to students before.
My kids all came home with a little tree in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I had a pine tree for a while.
The
Yeah.
Shade Tree Committee chooses to donate for the seedlings for the students. They choose to do that. They know that they could get it out of the Shade Tree Fund. It's just that they choose to do it for the kids.
That's
So is
nice.
this something we can discuss at council, Mayor, if we want to bring this, talk
Or
about
even,
how-
even in service or, a different committee, it could be discussed further. Probably service.
Matt?
Yeah,
sir?
I would
You guys
think,
discuss it here and service discusses it when Shade Tree gets back. Because a lot of times we have these discussions at the council meeting that should really be committee discussions.
Yeah, it should come to council when there's legislation ready most of the time.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I guess one is there anything else that we could think of that's like a situation like that we need to take a look at along with, the tree service type thing? So maybe think about that over the next week or so. And I don't mind at least bringing stuff up like this at the regular council meeting because there's more people there. And then maybe somebody has an idea or somebody could think of something that maybe, no one else thought of. So what I would say is think of if there's any other situations like that we could, review and take care of at the same time.
That's why we have new and other business or anything else before council. That's when we could bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, just think about it for the next week or so. If there's anything else that you could think of.
I can think of a lot of
Okay.
stuff, Matt,
Yeah. Write them down.
Ben's got a list.
Yeah.
but that long.
All right, do
Write the
we
list
have,
down and forward it.
all right, any new or other businesses?
I just have a request, if finance is all right with it. I would like to request that I start receiving copies of our bank statements And also any and all reports that we get from the Budget Commission every time we do anything with Janet's office.
And why is that?
Because I'm trying to learn more so I can do the budget, so I know more where the funds are at, breaking them down, trying to get a better understanding of it.
Ah,
Well, the bank statement is just one statement.
So you get that monthly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I
It's
mean,
not
as,
a public record, Mayor. You can get it. That's
Pardon me?
full.
Excuse me, Ben?
Nothing.
I'm sorry, Mayor, you wanted the bank records, and what was the other one? I didn't understand that one.
Whenever, like Jenny was saying, the report that she has to send for our budget, and then she sends at the end of the year for our appropriations, and then Janet and the Budget Commission reviews it and signs off on it. And we usually have one that I know of in January. But every time we submit appropriations, then they do a new one and send it out to us. I would like copies of every time we get something from the Budget Commission.
I just want to remind you that I was elected to be the finance person of the village. And I don't need anybody micromanaging my job. I'm happy to give you those
There
reports.
you are.
If
That's
you're-
exactly what you're trying to do, Mayor.
If you really need them so that you can prepare the budget and appropriations, that's fine, but I just don't think that's it. I'm just letting you know right now.
I don't either.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the mayor is the village's chief executive and she should be able to see the reports.
She's not.
And I am the financial executive. And
she's
sometimes
not in
that gets
charge of
crossed a little bit.
finance, Mr.
I don't
Mayor.
try to be mayor and she doesn't try to be fiscal officer. That's
That's
all.
fact.
And council's the legislator. I'm the finance person. She's the mayor. And I'm not trying to get things ugly, but we all know that she micromanages and I'm not going to have it.
And I agree with that. Yep. Our bubbles are going.
Well, I think I have a right to ask for any reports that are done.
I
Yes,
don't
you
think
do.
do.
You do have that right. I just want to know your motives. That's all.
And I told you my motive. I want to review them. Finance should get them also every time you get something from the Budget
We
Commission.
do.
Nope, the auditor reviews those.
But finance is supposed to audit our fiscal officer.
No,
According
Nope.
to you, maybe.
It-
But
it-
maybe
finance
not.
can review the reports with me, but I report to the state and the county auditor and the people that voted me in. That's
Well,
And she don't
it.
report, and she don't
The
report,
codified, Jenny.
she don't report to you, Mayor.
I know she doesn't.
And you're trying to make it that she does.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are.
Ben, I don't have to answer to you about anything, just like you said.
I don't have to answer to you about anything either.
Okay, can we not have this contentious? I mean, it was a request. I don't know how that goes about getting fulfilled, but
I am happy to make copies for anybody that wants them. I just wanted to be clear that I'm not going to be micromanaged.
so, well, Jenny, can I have a copy then? If that, that way you're sending it to,
You're getting it
course.
monthly every month. You get the financial reports.
I've made my request. That's all I can do. Thank you.
and Jenny said she'd give them to you, so, okay. Any other new or other business?
Not a chance.
All right,
Jenny, let's just chat next week about those historical data columns and on our reports.
Okay.
Cool.
all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Ah,
aye.
We're adjourning at 6:45. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jenny. I'm sorry we kept you longer.
That's okay. Good night.
Good night.
All right,
Good night. Hope you feel better, Jenny.
Thank you.
I do too.
Good night, Mayor.